Hey, we're continuing to read from Race Woman, um, by Joe Horn. I'm supposed to be reading these every day, but I've been slipping and I have to stop. I have to really, really get a lot of content out. Really trying. Her dream was not to be realized. By all accounts, Shirley Graham was extraordinarily talented as an organizer, but her tenure with the NAACP lasted less than a year. She resigned in the fall of 1943. The NAACP leader, Arthur Spingern, sympathized with her ostensible reason for leaving, her urge to do creative work. Knowing that this was a temptation too great for an artist to resist, Spingern might well have asked how the notoriously impecunious Graham planned to survive now that she was no longer gainfully employed. This must have occurred to her too. A few months after resigning, she was back in touch with Roy Wilkins and Walter White, trying to return to the staff. She had talked with her former NAACP co-worker Ella Baker about it and said that I was ready to acknowledge that I hadn't made a wise move. Yes, I know you offered me the opportunity to take a leave of absence. I wish now that I had done so. I'm not going to whine now. Instead of whining, she found a job at the Open Door Community Center in Brooklyn and then became executive secretary of the Brooklyn Interracial Assembly. In the latter capacity, she campaigned vigorously against police misconduct and for improved housing opportunities, healthcare, and jobs. In her spare time and in rapid succession, she wrote a series of popular biographies, first on George Washington Carver, then on Paul Robeson, next on Frederick Douglass. Sales from these works finally put her on the road to prosperity. But as her economic fortunes rose, her personal fortunes declined. She suffered a crushing blow when her firstborn Robert died tragically. See how thoughtful black people always had something in the neighborhood and the community to sustain them, some kind of organizations to sustain them? That's dead. That's been dead for a while. Now, when we don't have a regular mainstream job, when we piss off the phonies, where what I'm doing, what I'm trying to revive, or some of us are trying to revive, having our own organizations again and give you a chance to support it and to learn from it. Though she wrote to them and spoke to them on the telephone, Shirley Graham had been away from her sons since they were young children, and she had taken a ship to France. She was an absentee parent, though she tried to attend to their material needs and spend time with them during the summer. She sought to use the connection she had developed with the influential not solely for herself. For example, she tried to get Haley Flanagan to contact Eleanor Roosevelt in order to secure an appointment to West Point for her son David. In 1941, when her son Robert traveled to Los Angeles with the dream of entering UCLA, he did not hesitate to contact his mother for funds. She scrambled to respond. In turn, he reversed the relationship and just before he died, advised her to settle down and marry. The potential spouse was a small town big shot, but he does have security, which makes things just about even. She still felt guilty for being away from her sons, and no amount of money or gifts could salve her wounded conscience. It seemed that she had transferred her maternal gifts to others, soldiers in Arizona, for example. The newspaper PM reported on her job at the youth center in Brooklyn, where she worked from morning until midnight, observed that she was a combination mother, probation officer, and kindergarten teacher. Somehow she was able to do for strangers what she had difficulty in providing directly for her own sons. So when her son Robert died in 1944, this understandably painful blow hit Shirley Graham especially hard. He had married he had married as a teenager and had children and as a result had debts that she could not always help him with. Though she wrote and called him regularly, her absences made it difficult to forge a relationship as close as she would have preferred. Her son David suggests that she walked with a slight limp because of complications during childbirth. This limp was a metaphor for her, at times, infirm relationship with her children. And when Robert died permanently, she found this tragedy even more difficult to endure. Perhaps this is why she fabricated the story that his death resulted from racism when he was denied proper medical treatment at a hospital. David states that this story was not accurate, that Robert perished after contracting tuberculosis. This fable at least had the virtue of providing a rationale for her to become more deeply involved in anti racist politics and politically tinged writing. I don't know, sometimes you can have a disease and go to a hospital and still get bad treatment. I know the hospital has killed two of my family members in the last 5 years. And I mean, the hospital did it. So that's Black Life, though. Um, Race Woman by Joe Horn. I'll see you tomorrow with some more. And until then, try to stay safe, try to stay sane, and remember it's a thought based life for us.